Good morning, everybody. Sorry it's going to take me a second because normally I have Cayley here to kind of liven things up for me and get things organized in a good way. This camera is a little funky this morning. It looks a little different from my regular camera. But I think we're getting there. So I wanted to show you guys some things on the computer today, kind of walk you through our inventory process and kind of what that looks like. So give me just a second to gather things up here. How are you guys this morning? You'll have to tell me where you guys are from. Always like to see where you guys are all coming from. Get to the page so I can see your guys' comments. And apparently listen to some really cool ads that are coming in. Good morning from Kansas. Good morning. I like your screen name, Simply Shenanigans. Georgia, Minnesota, Louisiana. I feel like we have a lot of people from the South. North Dakota, okay. It's always nice to see people from kind of all over the place. What's the weather like for you guys right now? We've been like, I don't know, kind of going back and forth with some really odd weather. Dayton, good morning. From some fellow Ohioans, Virginia. We've been dealing with some like 85 to like 90-degree weather, and then like it drops to like 60 and 70 some days. So like, I'm okay with it. Rained last night. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain here too. West Virginia, Indiana, Virginia. Hot, muggy, bad hair. Oh my god, yeah, I spent time like curling my hair this morning and it's like already half flat, so I just said forget it. It was what it was. But summer starts in April in Georgia. Yeah. I've been to Georgia a couple times and it's pretty hot. It's pretty warm there for sure. Illinois. It's one place I've never been is Illinois. I've always wanted to go to Chicago and kind of see what it looks like. I've seen lots of pictures from there and I think it looks really pretty. I'd like to go, but I haven't been yet. So it is 9:05. You guys can continue to tell me where you guys are from if you'd like, but my topic of the day is going to be talking about prepping for inventory and kind of what we're going through. So our new assistant and myself will be going through an inventory process. I did bring my laptop today so I could kind of show you guys the process for how we pull things for inventory. That's been one of the biggest things that Cayley has kind of put me in charge of since I started. I'm super familiar with it. The old company I used to work for, we would end up inventorying like hundreds of thousands of products a day. We would do it all in one day, kind of have everybody on board, and we were really excited to do it. So I have not done a complete inventory of the entire store by myself in one day. I did it over in like sections before, but this is the first time we're doing the entire thing by myself. I guess not by myself, but start to finish. And then luckily I have our new assistant who is going to help us, help me go through it and kind of go through that process. We're doing things a little bit different this time just because we will have somebody else here helping, and I want to make sure that with her and I both kind of dabbling in it, we know 100% what we have and that it is guaranteed. We also really want to take time to check inventory on List Perfectly as well as eBay. So I'll kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what that looks like. Good morning from Pennsylvania, Florida. Thank you, Simply Shenanigans. Yeah, it's like beyond my waist at this point. Like most people don't really realize the extent of how long it is, but I do sit on it. I'm at the point that I'm pretty sure it's getting cut off. My husband says he's tired of it, so I think the time is coming. Time to donate it. So, all right, let's jump right in. So let's talk about prepping for inventory. So the number one thing you want to do for prepping for inventory is going to be getting ahead, right? So you have to make sure. Obviously, I'm planning on staying back for the day. I'm going to be borrowing our assistant for the day. I do think Cayley will still go sourcing that day. We won't really need her help here. So she'll still be outsourcing, but it is a lot harder for us to get a lot of inventory When there's only one of us, we don't get through thrift stores as quickly. You think about it, normally she hits one half of the store, I hit the other half of the store, and we get in and out of it really, really quickly. Well, when there's only one of us, it's going to take us twice as long to get through that store. So we want to make sure that we're, first of all, sourced ahead. We want to make sure we've got plenty of items, that even though I'm staying back and taking the day here, it's not going to throw us behind, and we're definitely going to be in a good place to keep on trend. Last thing we want to do is do an inventory, get behind, and then have to work even longer days to get ahead. So biggest thing is sourcing, 100%. Got to have that done. What we're doing now is bulking up on the majority of the items that we can. So that way we do have plenty to go. I don't know if you guys have been watching some of the lives. If you're new here, we have quite a large pile. It's over 350, I believe, items of things that are just waiting to be put into batches and ready to go. So we are definitely sourced ahead. We are planning on doing inventory. I believe it's like the 18th or 19th. It's whatever that Thursday is. I can't see the calendar from here. But we have it planned on the schedule. We always plan it multiple weeks in advance because we want to make sure that we are prepared in case, you know, anything happens, we need to move it. We want to have time to source, like I said. The other thing we have to think about is photos, right? So our assistant currently each day, she does photos, she helps answer customer questions, she does our shipping, she puts our inventory away. So you have to think, if I'm stealing her to do that inventory, I'm stealing her away from all of her other regular tasks during the day while she's here. So one of the ways that we're combating that is we're having her do 35 items a day. If you think about it, we are listing 20 items a day currently, Sunday through Saturday. So it ends up being 140 items a week. If we have her do 35 a day versus the 28 a day, then what that does is that allows us to have extra inventory. So we have her do 28 a day because she's only taking photos 5 days a week. So if you take the 140 and you divide it by 5 days, you get 28. But we're actually having her do 35. What that means is 7 each day is extra, which means if she wants to take a vacation day, if she wants to go on vacation, Cayley or I wants to go on vacation or take a day off, if somebody's sick, we're closed for holidays, or inventory, we don't have to do extra photos. We know that those are already there, done, and we can use them as a bank. So that's one way that you can get ahead for her tasks as well. We will also make sure that things that Cayley and I have to do, or things that I would be responsible for, I have finished ahead of time. Things like closet reviews, store reviews. We'd make sure that we wouldn't do it on a live day. Things so that we are really set, ready to go. So I'm going to talk about what things look like the day of and kind of show you a little bit about what those look like on the computer. If you guys have any other questions that you guys just want me to go over today, or you want us to talk about, feel free to just start letting them fly at any point. I will go back and answer all of those questions, but I did want to show you guys a little bit about what we would do the day of. So first things first is shipping, right? So if you're not pulling your items out for shipping that morning, you're going to have items that now you've run a spreadsheet on that are no longer going to be available in that tote. So imagine, I don't know, I sell a Lily Pulitzer dress this morning. I pulled the spreadsheet before I shipped. Now all of a sudden it's on the spreadsheet. I go to that tote, it's not there. I assume it's missing, but it's not missing, right? So we want to make sure we always do shipping first. The other thing is putting away inventory. So we schedule all of our items to be listed every day at 8 a.m. So when we come in, they're already done. So if we came in and we didn't put that inventory away, those are not going to be, they're going to be on the spreadsheet, but with no location. Can be a little bit harder to find, versus if we went ahead and put all those items away before we pulled that spreadsheet, then it would be a little bit easier for us to find those locations. They'd already be in there. Everything would be set. We want to make sure essentially that we're on the same page. So we want to know that we're either pulling that spreadsheet before those items are listed, or that we're pulling the spreadsheet after they've been put away. So I'm going to talk to you guys about pulling a spreadsheet. I know I keep mentioning it. This is how we do it on eBay. Let me transition here. I'm going to try to do this backwards. So if this looks really funky, I am sorry, because to you guys it looks normal, but to me it does not. Hopefully you guys can see this. Where's my little mouse? Okay, so the way that we pull this spreadsheet is we are going, let me find my mouse. There it is. I gotta go backwards. I'm gonna come this way. All right, hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better now. Now I can see it too. All right, so we're gonna go down to this edit button, and you can do these for however many listings you have. You'll see it pop up here. This is edit listings 1 through 2,000, edit 2,000 through 4,000, 4,000 through 5,000, and then whatever you have. And you'll have the amount of these just depending on how many listings you have. We have 5,013 currently, so it kind of tells you an idea of what we actually have. So what you do is you would do edit listing, and it will pop up, and it'll pull all of these into like a bulk edit function. It's thinking. So I go over here and select all, and then you can go to action and do export to file and do it as a CSV spreadsheet format. So you would do that for every single one. And then when you're done, it would end up looking something like this. So theoretically, you end up having like starting price and sales prices and all of those things over here. However, we cut all of those off. Turn this a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. We cut all of those off because we don't end up actually needing those. The only thing we really need is the name of the item, how many of the item we have, and the label for those. And then we end up sorting them based on number. So what we'll do is we'll end up cutting and pasting a section of those items just based on what tote we're currently working on. So say for example, I want to work on tote number, I don't know, let's see, this last one is 4982. So I can actually go through and create a filter, which I've done, and change this to 4982. And then you can just keep going through and selecting the ones that you want to view. I'm only going to do a few just so you guys can see this. And then you can hit OK, and it'll filter it to that, just this chunk that you were looking at. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to actually print this out, cut them into sections, and paste those onto the front of the tote. So we'll just kind of easy tape those on for each tote that we have. And then when we go through the actual inventory process, we'll go through and actually highlight, yes, this item was here, yes, this item was here, yes, this item was here, so on and so forth. And that way we can actually make sure that we do have all of those items needed to process that inventory. Pull this away from you here so I can see you guys again, and go back to the chat in case you guys have questions. Okay, so you always want to make sure when you're doing that first of all, you have everything labeled. So I talked about how the importance of that, but if you don't have everything put away, if it's not in proper totes, if it's not organized, then you're pulling this spreadsheet and you're going to have a lot of things that just have nothing on them. You'll see we have these hang racks behind us as well. These all have SKUs. All of our shoe racks have SKUs. Our purses have SKUs, because we want to make sure that when we are doing an inventory, every single item has an exact location. Otherwise, you're digging through totes. You're not sure what you have. You're not sure what you don't have. Just this week, we found out that we'd accidentally shipped the wrong hat to somebody, who knows when. It had been a really long time, and we didn't have that item to ship anymore because all we had is that it was a hat and it was in a tote. We didn't know what number it was. It looked pretty similar to the ones that we were planning on sending, but unfortunately, we had already sent the wrong item and there was nothing I could do. So it's really important that every single item has an exact location and that you have an exact number tied for every single item that you have, so that way there's no disclaimer on, or no issues with sending the wrong item versus the right item. I noticed the other day, sometimes we may have 2 or 3 of the exact same item that we've picked up at different times that could be the exact same size, And if I just dig in a tote and think it's what I have, maybe this one has a flaw that the other one didn't have. So you always want to make sure you're 100% accurate, and doing inventory and having a good system is the way to do that. Again, it also helps with that spreadsheet as well. You guys kind of got a brief idea of looking at it and seeing what it looks like. So what we'll do is we will print that section and post it on each tote. We'll go through and inventory each tote and make sure that everything that's in that tote is supposed to be. If we would come across anything that is not on that label but is in the tote, we'll go back to eBay, make sure that it is 100% on eBay, that it does have that right SKU listed, and then we'll move on from that tote. If, when we're done, I guess, with that, or I guess let's back up. If we have something that's on the eBay list that is not in the tote, then that means it's probably either been kicked out of eBay or it is been sold on another platform that maybe we canceled or whatever on eBay. So we want to make sure that we always hunt down the items, essentially. So we're going to look at that spreadsheet. We're going to see exactly what's going on. And every single tote that we follow into, we're going to make sure if anything's missing, we know why. If anything's extra, we know why. If we need to get it relisted, we're going to relist it. If we need to start from scrap on it and redo it, it's important. I did an inventory when I started with Cayley. I would have believed it would have been probably like last June. And it was for every single item that we had, and I think I ended up coming up with almost 45 items that we had in inventory that were no longer listed. If you don't know why that happens, anytime eBay adds new item specifics or does like promotional things or does like a reseller update, a lot of times that kicks a lot of your items out of eBay, or can kick a lot of those items out of eBay. And we lost about 50 items to do that. And I mean, that's 50 items we could have been selling that were no longer listed, or were maybe on another platform that we had sold but no longer had a SKU location for. So that's why it's really important that you do inventory. One of the questions we got here was, how often do you do inventory? We would like to do it quarterly. As I just mentioned, we ended up doing a inventory last June, I believe. It was probably between like June and August. We did it in chunks last time because I did it by myself and it was a little chaotic. But I did get through the entire thing, found a lot of things that weren't listed. Ideally, I'd like to do it in sections quarterly. So maybe do all of like the shoes 1 month, and then 2 or 3 months later, go through and do maybe like all the purses, and then go through and do all the boxed, and then do all the bulk. But at the end of the day, I would say you need to at least do inventory, a complete total inventory, once a year. We tend to do it in summer because you have that summer slowdown and you have a little bit more time where you're not having things be as little bit as crazy as what they were. You have a little bit more free time. So I would definitely recommend planning on doing it at a time where you know that you can 100% guarantee to be consistent. I would also recommend trying to do it all in one day, because I can tell you it does get very confusing when you go from, having it done in one day to making sure every single morning that you're pulling a new report, every single day that you are, doing shipping first, getting everything into a skewed bin, so on and so forth. You want to make sure you always have that done. And the more days that you kind of counteract that and spread it out, the more likely there is for error in those items. So it is always better to just knock it out, do it in one day, and guarantee. The other thing that we're going to do once we're finished with that eBay portion is we're going to take those slips of paper, we're going to go back to List Perfectly and make sure that everything that is in those totes is 100% listed on List Perfectly. If I pull up List Perfectly right now, it tells me, let's see. List Perfectly tells me that we have, apparently I need a quick start guide this morning. That's what List Perfectly is telling me. List Perfectly says that we have approximately 5,001 active listings. If I go to eBay, I think it said we had 5,013. So somewhere there's 12 items that are on eBay that are not on not on list perfectly. But here's the thing to think about. We also just listed 20 items this morning that are not on list perfectly because we haven't cross-posted those over yet. So if you take that into consideration, that actually means that there's 7 items that are actually on list perfectly that should not be there. So that's what you have to kind of take into consideration too. And unfortunately, that means that somewhere along the lines we've screwed up. I've maybe forgotten to take something off the platform, and it's really important that you do that because if I don't take something down, it's probably still listed on Poshmark as well. And that means we could potentially sell it again, and I have no clue where it's at or what to do with it. So it's why doing inventory is very important. We do not, Nicole, we do not use the report tab to generate inventory report because I honestly like the filtering option on the Google Sheets that we use. I also like that we can really kind of chunk that down specifically into like our tote labels. So like a tote for us is like 25 items. So we can really break that down into that. I also like doing it on there because it allows us to have that exact name that I can kind of cut and paste into eBay. I have looked into the report tab a little bit on eBay. In my opinion, I just prefer to do it on my own. And that way I kind of have an idea of fully what I have. I can change it. And it's not something that I really have to struggle to look through. I just think, in honesty, in my opinion, it is a little bit easier for me to function with. But that's, again, just me in general. If you decide that that works better for you, then absolutely you want to make sure that you do that. But in my opinion, I prefer to just do the spreadsheets. Hello from San Francisco. Good morning. I know it's 6 a.m. It's nice to see you this morning, Joe. Doyle, you do yours twice a year, but I am a much smaller store. It helps a lot on making sure the right location and things are listed. Yeah, so we have not, I really should knock on wood. This is plastic, but it's fine. We have not had an issue with not finding an item to ship in a while. Honestly, if we have an item that we can't ship for some reason, it's probably because I didn't do my job and it's still on a platform somewhere. If I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. Sometimes it's really hard to find on other platforms, which is why I love having List Perfectly, because I can literally just click the link and it immediately pulls up that item with that item number and I can end it and move on. But sometimes I can't find them. So I think we've mentioned to you guys a couple times that we've had a love-hate relationship with Mercari for a while. And we've been taking things down off Mercari, but sometimes I still miss them. And I just sold a pair of New Balance men's shoes last night on Mercari that I had to cancel because I'd sold them on Poshmark and apparently just completely missed pulling them off Mercari. So you always want to make sure that you do that inventory. Everything has the right label. You know everything's 100%. Yeah, obviously, Doyle, if you can do it multiple times a year, I would absolutely recommend doing it a couple times a year. I would say if I had to choose, I would do a complete inventory once a year, and then I would do a periodic, do a quarter of inventory every few months. Just so that you're consistently doing it more often than that, but you are not doing the entire thing. It would be a lot to schedule a whole day down in the middle of like a really busy season. So the other thing we want to do, if you're ever bringing in somebody else new, we always try to do inventory before you bring anybody else in to help you, because ultimately there's nothing more discouraging or more frustrating for them than when they can't find an item and they've just started, they think it's their fault, so on and so forth. We are obviously planning on doing an inventory now because we are planning on hiring again towards the end of August, maybe early September. And we want to make sure that we absolutely have everything prepared for this new person. We guarantee that the inventory is there so that there's no confusion and no headaches for this new person that's starting. That's one of those things that you can do to prepare ahead of time for a new hire, because ultimately there's a lot that goes into preparing for them, and you want to make sure that your store is 100% organized. Before we brought on our newest hire, I went through and converted everything to numbers versus like we had letters, we had A's, we had AA's, AAA's, we had guard totes that used to be in our garage. Like we had all kinds of different things. And we wanted everything to be really smooth and cohesive, and it was definitely a really good move for us. Our assistant is now helping us with getting things converted into better totes. We had some bulk we wanted to get done. She was able to help us consolidate that. Again, she'll be the one helping us with inventory. So I think it'd be a really good opportunity for her to kind of see how we do it. Eventually, she'll be leading our team here in the office. So we want to make sure that she's aware on how to do it as well. If you guys have questions, it doesn't have to be just about inventory. Feel free to shoot them out. I know I was going to play keywords today, but we just did that Friday, and I was like, we'll do something a little bit different, especially with us having inventory coming up. I thought it'd be a good topic for you guys, but I'm completely open to anything. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd be glad to talk to you guys about anything in your business. It doesn't, again, have to be inventory related. I know I'm not Cayley. I'm not as fun as what she is, but y'all get me instead today because she had some other things going on. The other thing I thought about chatting with you guys about today as well is preparing for the unexpected. So one of the biggest things you can do with your business is, hey girl, hey, how are you? Is making sure that, again, you're ready. So we talk about preparing for inventory. It's no different than preparing for everyday life. So this week for sure has been a little crazy for us. Cayley has an appointment. I have an appointment this week. We've got some other sourcing things kind of going on between the two of us. We're actually going to be split up 4 days this week now because she's gone today. Tomorrow she's got her appointment and I'm solo sourcing. Wednesday I'm solo sourcing because I've got some stuff going on. Thursday she's solo sourcing because I'm going to be at the office because I have an appointment to go to. So it's just, you have to be prepared for kind of everything, and it's really convenient, I guess, to have two of us because things go according to plan regardless. But I can tell you that like winter is going to be coming. What happens when it snows? You need to think about that. Vacation time. I'm taking my happy body to the beach, and I'm super excited this year. Cayley will be going to the beach at some point. Maybe we'll go sourcing when we're there too. But you have to plan for all of that. So what can you do? I mean, what do you guys do to get ahead? What can you guys, other than obviously putting your store in vacation mode, if that's what you're doing. But what do you think is important to do when you know you're going to be off for an extended period of time? Like I said, luckily we still have our helper who just still does shipping and things for us while we're gone. But ultimately, anytime one of us steps out, we have to be prepared to 100% be able to continue to function. So as I mentioned, we're getting our death pile kind of filled up so that we are ahead. If one of us has to step out, it's not a big issue. I've mentioned it a couple times. Cayley and I've had some personal stuff going on in both of our lives, and unfortunately that's made us both take a little bit more time out of the office than we would like to. But it's nice to know that one, we have our helper here keeping things consistent, and two, we have each other. So if she can't source, I'm sourcing. If I can't source, she's outsourcing. Obviously, we ideally like to go together, but if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. So one of the things we'll do, again, source ahead. We're going to make sure that we've got those extra listings ready to go. So we'll plan to get ahead. We have about 5 extra a day, so that'll be about 25 extra a week. And that will kind of help us keep ahead. So if we have to take a day off, essentially each week we're preparing an extra day of free time. With it being June, everything that we're putting in extra for June is going to go for that inventory. And then it's also going to go for 4th of July because we'll be off for 4th of July. If I have any more doctor's appointments that come up, things like that, that can help prepare for things like that. So on and so forth. Let me go read some of these questions that we have right quick. Thank you, Ava. That's very kind of you. I did my first closet review the other day. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. Cayley asked if I would help because she was getting kind of behind and she had a lot of things going on. I was like, sure. Can't be that bad. But I had a freaking blast. So if you guys have not signed up for a closet review or a store review for eBay or Poshmark, I would recommend doing it. I think we still have some open right now. I had so much fun. I was kind of worried that the person that we reviewed would be like, Nikki did it, not Cayley, but she seemed very excited about it, and I had a really good time. Thought we had a lot of like really constructive things going on, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm glad you guys like me, even though you might not like me as much as Cayley, and that's fine too. What about taking down poor choices I made in the early days of my business that will probably never sell? So Joe, that brings up a really good point. Some people will do like sell similar where they'll end the item and then sell similar and update the listing. I wouldn't do that if it's something that, unless it's something that you think is for sure going to sell. Just because if you think it has a bad sell-through rate, you probably don't want to have that in your store. You've already put the work in, so you might go ahead and make sure, or might go ahead and just kind of discount that item to get it shipped out. It's kind of what we're doing now, is we're discounting a lot of the items that maybe we've had for a while that we want to get rid of. If I look at, let me see how long our oldest listing is on here. We've been marking stuff down quite a bit, and honestly, like, we're selling stuff sometimes for like $10 and $15, but it gets it out of the store. It helps us get part of our money back for the things that we purchased. But so you could either choose to mark it down, or you could just cut your losses and get rid of it completely. You could choose to donate it. If you donated it, you'd have at least a tax write-off for doing so. But I definitely would make sure that if it's been sitting there for a while, you have some sort of game plan on how to get rid of it. Just because otherwise you're going to be tagging or dragging your store down with those poor choices that you made. I promise you we have them. I was just looking. Our oldest listing is from March 30th of 2019. So, I mean, that's a pretty long time to have some of those items. It's at this point marked to $12 because, again, we've had it for so long. It is a Free People item. And hopefully it'll sell. It does have some watchers on it already, so hopefully with us just marking that down, it'll be a good opportunity for somebody to pick it up. But ultimately, I would suggest either taking it down and donating it, or marking the price down a little bit on those items. We mark them down 10% essentially every 30 days. So once they hit that 90-day mark for us and it hasn't sold, then we will mark them down 10%. If in another 30 days they still haven't sold, we mark them down another 10%, another 30 days, another 10%, so on and so forth. So it kind of gives you an idea. But again, if it's like, I don't know, something like Walmart brand, like off the wall, like Old Navy, something that's like really, really bad sell-through rate, like not even semi-okay, you can't find any factors, it doesn't have a large size, things like that. If there's nothing that makes you want to keep it in your store, I would just say end the listing and donate it. Not really, I need to donate them. Mostly it's stuff I got for free anyways. I'm thinking every time I go to storage, I'll go through a bin and pull stuff and take it down. Yeah, you could totally do that. So I don't know if you know, but you can filter on eBay oldest listings to newest listings. And we just go through and do anything over 90 days and start discounting it 10%. We also found out you can do that on Poshmark too through Posher VA, which we have started doing on Poshmark as well. We donated those. We discounted those 10% this week as well. There was also like some sort of like Poshmark sales promotion this weekend that we participated in, and we had a lot of stuff. I think this morning we had 37 on eBay, and then if I look at Posh, I don't know how many we had on Posh. Let's see. We had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we had 21 today on Posh, so we were over 50, almost over 60 for just listings for today that we sold. And a lot of those were marked down things that were pretty cheap. Yeah, Joe, the 10% form for 90 days. So the reason we do 90 days is if you think when you're comping for what has sold in 90 days, correct? So if, say, there's 5 items currently listed, 10 items have sold in the last 90 days, that's a good sell-through rate. So we would pick it up. If we get to, say, what's today? June 6th. So say we get to September 6th and we still have not sold this item. 1, you're going to start heading out of seasonality. And 2, you're going to make sure, or you're going to be passing that 10-day window, or that 10-day window. Lord help me, that 90-day window. So that sales opportunity isn't really going to be there anymore. It's not saying it doesn't still have a good sell-through rate. It might, but at the end of the day, if it's not selling in that 90 days, you might want to move it a little bit. So say you have it marked for $25. You're only taking $2.50 off by discounting that 10%, but somebody sees that as a sale and they're like, ooh, it's on sale. It's only $22 now. It's not $24 now. So, they look at that and they're more likely to pick it up, and that may in turn help you. If that does not work in 30 days, then you mark it down another 10% and then another, you know what I mean? So it does really help. People see that there's a deal. They're worried they're going to miss out. So they go ahead and purchase that item because they want it. Fear of missing out is huge, 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 huge for people. Thank you, Tanya Collier. I appreciate you. That's so kind. I will text Cayley and be like, haha, I got my first super chat. Thank you. I'm really excited, so thank you. Let me go back and see other questions. Personal life. What is this? Yeah, I'm telling you. I will tell you, this is not as bad. So I worked in a corporate world for a really long time. I worked the same, well, not same position. I worked the same job for 13 years. I worked in a variety of roles, from like customer service to hiring. I ended in human resources, which I love. That's like my favorite place. But this place, to get it like there versus here, I like actually have more of a personal life than I think I've ever had, which may seem really hard for some resellers because we do spend a lot of time sourcing and traveling and so on and so forth. But it's nice because I put my 40 hours in and then I go home when it's time, and I really appreciate that. If you guys don't know, I have 2 youngish kids and they take up all my personal time. So I don't have much personal time outside of that, but personal life, it is important for you guys to do that and reward yourselves, right? Because you guys are obviously, you're here. It is a Monday. For some of you guys, it's 6 in the morning. I don't even know. Somebody said they were here from the UK. I don't know what time it is in the UK, but I would assume that for some of you guys, I know California, it's 6 a.m. Sometimes this might be kind of out of your time window, but y'all are here. So first of all, you guys made it on a Monday morning, super early, ready to get motivated. And I really appreciate that only. But on top of that, you guys are dedicating this time for your business, which is really important. So you got to take time to reward yourself. You have to do things that you think are fun. I use the bins as like my punishment when I'm like, okay, I haven't worked hard enough. I got to go to the bins because now I'm behind. So we've allowed ourselves to kind of only do regular thrift store thrifting. But that's a privilege for us because if we get behind, then, it's a little crazy. 1440. So I guess it's not super early for you, but okay, let's see what else we have here. How do you track trends and know what to buy? How far do you travel from your town to source for inventory? So tracking trends is where we follow that sell-through rate. So say for instance, I don't know, what is this? This is a North Face. So we would actually look up the style number on the inside of that North Face. We'd find out the exact name of that North Face. We would do North Face men's. I don't know what that one is off the top of my head, but maybe it's like a specific hybrid line or whatever it looks like. We would go to eBay. We would specifically comp that item, specific style, name, size, color, all of it. We would make sure that we would go through all of that comp. So we would pull all the details up. Say it has 5 listed. We would filter to pre-owned. We would filter to sold and see how many are sold. If it's greater, 5 or greater, we would get the item. If it's under 5, we typically would not, unless there's extenuating factors and it's a very cheap price. So I'm not going to lie and tell you we never break factors because sometimes we do. Sometimes I know things sell. For instance, aloe leggings for us. If you comp those all day long, they do not sell well on eBay. unless you have a specific style name or a specific thing. But we know that we sell them really well, so we pick them up anyways. Same thing goes for button fly women's Madewell jeans. We still pick those up, even though you comp them on eBay. They comp horribly. They sell incredibly quickly for us on Poshmark. So it is really important that you follow comps, but also know that if you know you have a good opportunity to sell something, you know it does really, really well for you, to not necessarily pass up on those opportunities when you get them. As far as traveling for us, we travel about an hour to an hour and a half to an hour to an hour and a half to source. For the bins, it's about an hour for us, so that's kind of our go-to. There are some places that get closer to that 2-hour mark for us, but we make sure to make a full day out of it. So we get here at the office early, we leave very early, we make sure that we can hit 2 to 3 stores before lunch, we hit 2 to 3 stores after lunch, and then we head home. So like we take every single minute that we can, especially on those days where we know that we're going a little bit further. We want to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck. We spend most of our time. We run through those stores quickly because ultimately it wouldn't be worth it, especially with gas prices right now, to drive all that way to hit one store and come home. So we do travel a little ways, but we make sure that it's worth it. Do you ladies search Facebook groups for inventory? I do sometimes. I don't like intently do it, but if it comes across my Facebook and I find some things, I will definitely comment on them and go pick them up. I do hit yard sales occasionally here on the weekends when I have nothing better to do on my weekends, just to see if I can come up with some extra inventory. Last year I hit a really odd yard sale that had a bunch of really, really great brands. Which is kind of odd for our area because we don't live in an area that really people typically wear the brands that we're looking for, but we came across some. So sometimes we get lucky. I do find some on Facebook occasionally. We have some local groups here between like moms and families that post things. Occasionally I get lucky and find some Lululemon in there or some cans, things like that. But for the most part, I don't delve too much into it because it would, like, I think, take over my whole life of searching searching Facebook all the time. But if I find it, it comes across me. I think that God just kind of put it there, and I'm like, this is my chance. I'm going to buy it. So, yes, occasionally. Hi from Melbourne. Super helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Not really. I need to donate them. We talked about that. Can you give me words of motivation to start my Poshmark closet? I have an account set up. I have cameras, lights, computers, tons to sell, etc. But I'm having a hard time getting started and motivated. Patricia, are you on any other platforms or are you completely brand new starting to reselling? Can you tell me that? And then I can kind of give you some thoughts from there. Thank you, Tanya, again. I appreciate all the content and ideas. It really has increased my business consistency. I think consistency is the #1 way that you can really sell your business. And to be honest, it's freaking hard. Like, let's just talk about that. You're home. Most of you probably don't have offices yet. And if you do, great. That's even better. But it's hard to force yourself out of bed, to make yourself get dressed, to make yourself go to the thrift store, to make yourself find things. Nobody's holding you accountable but yourself. I remember doing like online schooling in college and I was like, I'm just going to sleep late. Like, it's fine. I don't need to get up. It's hard when you don't have somebody there physically holding you accountable all the time of doing your tasks. And that's kind of why I like having some other employees with us as well, because if I don't show up for work in the morning, somebody's going to be calling me and saying, what the heck are you doing and when are you getting here? And same thing for them. If they're not coming in, I'm going to be doing the same thing. Hey, Cayley, where are you at? Like, you okay? I miss you. I send her like little loving words in the morning. Good morning. Come to work. I love you. Just things like that. If she's more than like 20 minutes late for work, I'm texting her, asking her where she's at, making sure she's okay. That accountability is freaking huge. And when you don't have somebody doing those things for you, or helping hold you accountable, that can be really hard. Really, really hard. So maybe find a reselling buddy. Is there somebody else in your area that you know? Is there somebody in the chat here today that you can kind of buddy up with and say, hey, can you hold me accountable? I really need somebody, you know, to make sure that every single Monday that I am getting these listings done. Can I text you? Can we message? What does that look like for you? We have been talking about an accountability group these last couple weeks on really how to make that work. I'm not suggesting Facebook again because I got eaten alive last week for suggesting Facebook. But I hear there's some other options out there, and I would love to host a like motivational and accountability group for you guys, where you guys can get on. We can really chat with each other, you know, give each other posts, make each other goals. So everybody needs to set 5 live today, so on and so forth, to kind of move on. I think if we all had an accountability buddy, it would be great. There's some days where I just am really not feeling it, but having Cayley, you know, make me come to work and say, no, like, we need to do this, we need to move on, is huge. I'm also a really big results person. So I like to set goals, like very baby goals for myself, where I'll say, okay, by the end of today, I want to have XYZ done. By the end of the week, I want to have ABC. By the end of the month, I need to be here. By the end of 6 months, I need to be here. I think having baby goals is also very important, because people set so many long-term goals and you don't get that sense of achievement for maybe that 6-month window. But what are you doing on an everyday basis? Can you say, my goal for today, I'm going to set 5 items live. I'm going to list 5 items no matter what it takes me to get there. I'm not doing anything else until I do it. Maybe by the end of the week, I have to have, I don't know, say you're doing 5 a day. I have to have 30 done at the end of the week. That gives you one day to kind of play skipsies if you want. But ultimately, you need to have some sort of accountability for yourself. Make it a checklist. Put a goal calendar on your refrigerator. Make it so that before you, I don't know, find one thing fun in your life. Before you can do anything that you find fun, you have to do the things that you don't want to do. I know Joe and I talked about that. I told her, I said, you know, she said she hated cleaning her litter box a couple weeks ago. And I said, that needs to be your goal. You have to do all the things you hate doing before you can list, because she said listing to her felt like her reward, or before sourcing, you know. So if you find something that you really enjoy doing, use that as your motivation to get that item done. You cannot do what you want unless this is done. And I don't know, I use snacks. I really do. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'll let myself eat unhealthy one day because I'm like, oh, I worked really hard this week. I'm gonna eat unhealthy, or I'm gonna go get ice cream, or we're gonna go get coffee, or whatever that looks like. I use that as my reward. I have to have X amount of items to do it. So tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be sourcing by myself. That being said, I'm gonna have a goal for myself. I have to get, I don't know, let's say 45 items the next 2 days. I will not come home until it's finished. And I will not reward myself with getting lunch until it's time. So Joe says it's working. Her cat box is scooped daily now. I'm telling you, it works. Did everyone start making money right away when they started, or did it take a lot of time to get some income coming in? It does take some time. So if you think that you're going to just pick things up and they're immediately going to sell and you're immediately going to start making money, I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. And I'm so sorry to tell you that. You will sell some things very quickly. Other things, though, you might wait on a little bit longer. You have to think about it. You have to find not only a buyer who's interested in your item, but a buyer that's also the same size as your item. So that's going to take some time, unfortunately. But consistency is huge. You definitely want to make sure that you keep going no matter how hard it is. Set a goal for yourself. I'm going to spend X amount of dollars each week to start my business or be motivated in my business, and spend that every single week. The one thing that you can do, Patricia, is really focus on that sell-through rate, because if you're picking up an item that has a 200% sell-through rate, you probably are going to sell that more likely. If you're picking items that have a 50% sell-through rate, it's going to take you longer. So really, really focus on what you're picking up. Make sure that the sell-through rate is in fact there with the size, the color, the style name, all of that. and then you'll probably have some pretty great luck. But you definitely want to really focus on that sell-through rate, because otherwise you might sit on some of those items for a while. I think one thing people do is they make the mistake of just going out and buying a bunch of stuff without doing the research behind it, and you'll get stuck with some of those things, unfortunately. If you really follow that sell-through rate, it's a good opportunity. The other thing you might think of, Patricia, as well is, do you have a bins location near you? Is there somewhere that you can start where you get things for maybe just $1 or a couple dollars to start? Do you have any friends that might have some donations to get you started? Things like that, which would help keep your, incoming cost pretty small, but could also help you get your business started. I'm too afraid to even go away for the weekend because I'm scared my sales will tank. Schedule, Samantha. If you do not schedule, you are literally just wasting your weekend. I promise you, I touch the eBay world, reselling world, maybe like 5 or 6 times over the weekend. I know it sounds like a lot, but I check eBay in the morning, answer questions, take things down off platforms. I check it lunchtime and then dinner time every day over the weekend. That's it. Otherwise, I have my listings scheduled. I do extra during the week so that I can be prepared. I'm working in office today. I will probably list about 75 items today alone, just because I want to be ahead. They're not all going to go for today, but they're going to be scheduled out for the following couple of weeks. And that way I make sure that I'm ready. Right now, we are currently scheduled through Friday. Which means this whole week I'm not touching anything. Today I'm going to go ahead and do listings for all of next week so that I can go through the weekend and not have to worry about it. I would definitely recommend doing so for yourself as well. Enjoy your time. Don't sink your ship because you're worried about taking some time off. You definitely deserve it. So yes, I would love one, please. I will sign up. LL, eBay and Posh just started. My reward is reselling. I live in one of the greatest vacation spots on earth. I can take a 20-minute drive down the coast, walk to the shore, eat at a beachside cafe, maybe find a rummage sale. Joe, I'm super jealous. I am very, very, very jealous. I can't wait to go to the ocean. I've not been to the ocean in 15 years, and I'm going this summer. And I will be in South Carolina. And I might hit some sourcing. So if any of you guys are from South Carolina and you want to tell me some good places to hit in South Carolina towards the coast, might check them out while I'm there. You can make erratic money immediately depending how good of a buyer, lister, pricer you are. Only buy stuff that sells and list it properly. You make money, if not going to take hundreds of listing. Yes. So Tommy brings up a really good point. Same thing I kind of mentioned. You want to make sure that you are always picking up things that are really, really high sell-through rate. And you might want to price a little bit lesser than everybody else. So if you comp those and everybody else is selling at 29, maybe you need to shoot for 24 to make sure that you are consistently seeing sales from that. People are typically going to buy the one they see the cheapest. So you might take that into consideration as well. I wouldn't undercut yourself a whole lot because then people might think that there's a flaw with it or something like that. But just a couple dollars more would be good. Patricia, she says right there with her. I have eBay too. I just haven't sold anything yet. I'm scared to start posting because I'm scared of shipping and I haven't been able to figure all that out. I think we have a video on eBay shipping. It's honestly pretty cut and dry once you start. I know that sounds very scary. But I do think we have an entire video, Patricia, on how to do eBay shipping. I would definitely search the channel for eBay shipping. I know we have one there, and that can kind of help walk you through it. If you're looking at starting out and you're looking at kind of cross-posting things, you may look into getting a plan with List Perfectly so that you only have to do it one time and then share it over. If I was starting as a reseller on my own to start, I would start on eBay. It is the hardest platform to learn, but everything from there is a cakewalk. And I would definitely recommend doing that so that it only gets easier following. Shipping can be a little scary at first. The biggest thing is make sure that you have your listings right. We do calculated shipping so that the buyer always 100% knows what they're going to purchase and like how much the shipping cost is going to be for them. And I would definitely recommend doing so for yourself. of reselling, but it's a good idea. It's not hard if reselling is 100% of your income. Very few people 100% rely on reselling to make a living. YouTube makes it look easy. YouTube can make it look really easy, in all honesty. So I would definitely consider that. I know we make it look pretty easy. Ultimately, three of us, we support ourselves, our families, from reselling alone. It's not just the one of us, and obviously we'll be adding somebody else in the fall. But as Cayley's mentioned, she's been in this for 5 years. So at the end of the day, it's very important to kind of keep that in mind. I know we do make it look easy. Now that it's started, it is easier. But if I was starting today with nothing, I would set a budget for myself and say, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of money. Maybe that's $100. I'm going to go to, whether that's the bins or I'm going to go wherever. I'm going to spend $100, and then I would make sure that all of that profit, 100% of that profit, was going back into my business. I know that's hard if you're supporting yourself, but ultimately, I think everybody who starts reselling should have another backup plan at first, whether that's working somewhere else or some extra income coming from somewhere, and you should reinvest all of that money into kind of creating a good following of items. It is hard if reselling is 100% of your income. If it's not, and it's something that you can just kind of pick up here and there as you go and do items as you please, it's great. But the biggest way to grow that is consistently listing, consistently picking things up, and then reinvesting all that money back into your business. I'm transitioning from a low ASP to a higher one. What are your suggestions? The high-end brands in my city are RW & Co., Banana Republic, Ricky's. I do not focus, I do focus on ASPs, but I focus on sell-through rates first. Cayley and I kind of have a debate on this. So Cayley and I have talked about, increasing higher ASPs. And she's like, well, we just pass on the things that aren't as great. I don't know. I can't sell myself with that ship yet because, in my opinion, if I'm finding it, I'm comping it, it's good, I'm going to pick it up regardless. I follow strictly sell-through rate. Now, obviously, you have to take that into consideration. If an item's going to cost me $12 to buy it, I'm going to sell it for $20. It's not worth it at that point, especially by the time you pay fees and do shipping and so forth. But I would definitely have a cutoff. Ours is 5 into 25, 10 into like 35. So we have an idea of how much we can spend before, like, for us to get an item. If it's over that price range, we don't get it. But I would not focus specifically on just what you think is a high-end brand. I would focus on that sell-through rate. I can tell you Banana Republic is very, very, very hit or miss. We have pretty good luck with men's items, but if you comp them, they comp horrendously. For the majority of them, we only get those from the bins. But we do really, really well with them. Most times we can flip something from the bins for like $25 to $30. And we get it for just $1 to $2. But I would definitely focus on sell-through rate above all. And then if you decide you want to, raise a higher ASP and you want to skip on some of the cheaper items, that's totally okay for you to do. But that is up to you. I won't lie. I do not know how much shipping is in Canada, but I have heard that it is a little bit higher in Canada. So I can't offer you advice on that. I'm sorry. But it is a hill, not a mountain. When you are starting, it seems like a mountain range. Sell 1 or 2 items. It's not that big of a mountain. YouTube equals your friend. Yeah. Follow YouTube, Patricia, for shipping. And definitely start with just an item or 2 to see how it goes. Yep. Duel brings good point. I make mistakes every freaking day. That's the biggest thing. If you think you're going to do this and you're going to be perfect, you're not going to be. I make mistakes literally every day. eBay related, home related. Like, if you think that I'm perfect by any means, I'm not. Like, I will be the first person to tell you. I'm not afraid to be humble and tell you that, like, I make mistakes every single day. And the biggest thing you can do is own it, know what happened, and move on from it. So don't think you have to be perfect. So If you guys will take a second, we have 81 watching and I have 28 likes. If you guys could give me a few more, I would appreciate you. Cayley always likes seeing it pop up on the channel because it does help increase ratings and it's a free way to support the channel. So if you could do that, I would appreciate it. Definitely important. Hi, Kent. Your electric company keeps you accountable. That is true too. When you have bills to pay, employees to pay, it is really important that you are working all the time. Kent, I think Cayley had a question for you. You should send us an email on the welltraveled@gmail email. I think she was trying to get a hold of you the other day, but we weren't sure exactly how. So you should definitely shoot us a message on our Gmail account. It is in most of the descriptions on her videos. Thank you for helping motivation. I'm hoping to start listing today. I'm in Missouri if anyone needs a buddy. Yeah, if anybody wants a buddy, Patricia's in Missouri. Maybe somebody else in Missouri can pair up with her and be her accountability buddy. Kansas. If you drive through Florence, South Carolina to get to the coast, shop there. I'll have to look. I'm not sure what route we're taking yet, but I will write that down. And if so, I will shop there because I'm excited. I like sourcing while I'm out and about because sometimes you find some really cool things. So, you're not too far from me. What do you do with photos? I know you said eBay, they corrupt, but Poshmark, is that any safer? So we have found that photos corrupt on eBay after typically 2 weeks. So we really do not try to post any drafts or have any drafts listed more than 2 weeks. That being said, we talk about being over that 25 roughly allotment each week. What we're doing is we're using that as a rolling 25. So what I'll do is, so whatever last Friday was the last thing that we had, the 25 that are extra, those will be the first thing that I list this week. And then when I get to next Friday, I'll be 25 over again. From that week plus from the week before, so now I'll be 50 over. We will roll that into the next week and those will be the first things that we list. Every month we're going to go back and plan on using them, kind of like a either you use it or lose it kind of technique. So if we don't need it to cover a holiday or something like that, those will just be extra listings. We'll go ahead and list them and we'll move on, but we'll always have that bank to pull. So it's definitely something that we want to make sure we use them because they will corrupt. I have not noticed on Poshmark them corrupting. The other way that we're counteracting that is scheduling them. We've noticed that once they're drafted and you schedule them, you can have them scheduled for 3-4 weeks out. We're not running into any issues with them being scheduled. We are only running issues with them in drafts. It's always been that way for us. I don't know why. I have not run into any issues on Posh, but we don't typically list on Posh. We typically start on eBay, cross post to list perfectly, and then cross post it to Posh after that. The repo man helps me list as well and makes better decisions as well. That is true. If you have to worry about your stuff getting repoed, I would definitely do it. Simply Shenanigans and Patricia are going to be buddies. That's so great. It makes my heart happy. You would not recommend Three Sisters. I reported that store to the Better Business Bureau. Thanks for the suggestion. I'd rather not go places that are a little crazy. Let's see what else we have here. Shipping really is terrifying in the beginning, but it becomes really easy after you've done it enough. Really, you can almost do it with your eyes closed. It honestly does become easier once you've done it. I suggest once you have multiple packages going out, doing the bulk shipping function because I really enjoy that way more than the individual. Even now, after a year, I open up each individual one to print and I'm like, what is this? Why are all these extra things on there? If you do it in bulk, it looks like it's you literally just put the weight dimensions and how you're shipping it and you move on. It's a lot easier. Let's see. I'm always looking for buddies. You can almost do it. I don't know how we got to talking about crack pipes, but that does not seem appropriate. So let's refocus back into what we were doing. Do you guys lower the price by editing the listing or by relisting at a lower price? We do not end and relist. We just edit the listing and repost that. We do it in bulk. You can do that in a bulk function where you literally just grab X amount of listings and then you can drop them all by a price. We do not end and relist. Just a point to your point of extra income, I'm a hairdresser and I use my tips to invest in the business. Yes, Isabella, that's exactly a good idea. So you want to use something that you have an X amount that you spend each week and use that as an extra income into your business. You have to invest for it to come back to you. That doesn't mean you have to invest millions of dollars. You don't have to have 5,000 listings to be successful. You could be successful with 100. You could be successful with 50. It's all about the items that you pick up. The number one most important thing is that you have to pick desirable items. If you're not picking desirable items, those items aren't going to sell for you very quickly, and you're going to get stuck with those inventories. So you definitely want to make sure that you are picking up good quality items. I would not relist, takes too much time and no benefit. Yes, Doyle, same thing. You just brought that up, so thank you. It's okay, Patricia. I don't care. I don't care if you put your closet name out here. It doesn't bother me at all. Helps you guys find each other. I mean, I would tell you to obviously be aware of your own security and probably not just like randomly post your phone numbers or weird things in here. But definitely, if you want to have some way for them to get a hold of you, an email address, whatever is fine. If you want to have a buddy, that is definitely a good idea. My biggest regret was not getting a solid inventory system early on. If I had to start over, inventory would be huge on a priority list. I lost and double sold so much stuff. Yes. Joe, thank you for the super chat. I love it. It's super cute. The super sticker. Inventory is huge too. A lot of people say that, well, I'll do an inventory system once I figure it out or once I get enough items. Start at the very beginning. Go to your local Lowe's, Menards, whatever that looks like. Get a couple shelves. Go get some totes or some boxes or whatever that looks like, bags, whatever you want to use. And do it very early on because it's better to have it, implement it, and then make it large scale. Cayley and I over the last year have really had to go back and kind of go through some of the processes we were doing and correct things because small scale it worked, it doesn't now. We're doing that again, right? So we're talking about adding another person. Well, now we're talking about, do we need 2 photography areas? How can we stagger their schedules? What does that look like for us? We're moving to doing 175 listings a week. We're hoping to increase beyond that shortly after. I'd like to get to about 200 by the end of the year. That is a huge goal for us to get there. That's about another 60 listings a week for us, which when you add sourcing and stuff, that time does add up. But the biggest thing is before you do anything, if you're starting out new, if you're expanding, whatever that looks like, get all of your processes narrowed down from the beginning. Get comfortable with what you're doing. Test it out a bunch of different ways. Try it. Bring in a friend. You have a parent, a spouse, a best friend that you can bring in and say, this is how, go take photos. What does that look like for you? Can you find this item? If I tell you to find it, can you find it? Because sometimes people think of other things that you might not think of. Definitely start early. I keep around 400 items at all times, so not a big store. I usually end and sell similar since supposedly it gives a boost. I don't know. End and relist or sell similar 100% are treated as a new listing and get the new listing bump. That's factual. I end, relist daily, whatever is ending today. Also reprice and check errors. If I had a smaller store, that might be worth it. But with us having over 5,000 listings, that would be virtually impossible for us to do. But a lot of people do say with smaller stores that they do end and relist. It does show up as a new listing, which is always good. But again, that also takes a lot of time too. So if you have 400 listings, to end every single one and relist it every single day would be a lot. Also, if you end up using a platform like List Perfectly to cross post to like Poshmark because you have multiple things, that will change the item number every single time you do that, and you'll have to also update. You'll also have to update that on List Perfectly. Otherwise, your listing won't be there and it won't be accurate anymore. I have about 600 items in the store. I tested a few things when smaller. Relist old listings helps sell too. You can bulk edit too. I would do about 5 to 7 a day. Also send offers. We do send offers pretty much 2 or 3 times a day. We do find that that's really important to do. So I would definitely recommend doing so. Had to switch from totes to banker boxes because the totes had plastic smell and it was transferring to the items. They don't have much room, but no plastic smell. Yeah, we were using totes too for a while, but totes are really freaking expensive. Like most of our totes we were buying were like $7 or $8 a piece here, which I mean doesn't seem like a lot, but when we're going through, you know, hundreds of them, it does add up. We have switched to banker boxes as well. You can kind of see some of them back here in the video. We can fit about 25 in them, and we honestly really enjoy that. I actually prefer to have more totes but less items in each tote because it does make it easier for you to find items. We are not using free shipping. I'm not going to say we don't have any items that are marked with free shipping, maybe things that we've had from like a really long time ago, but we do not use free shipping on the regular. We typically do not. It is lost money in the end because you're now paying for that. Some people will choose to increase the cost of their listing. And so, you know, say you're going to sell your item for $20, you know, shipping's going to cost $8. You might go ahead and mark that item for $29, but the risk you have with that is most people are going to see that your item is marked more expensive. Sometimes they'll pick it because they see that free shipping, sometimes they won't. We just do calculated shipping. We have the exact weight of each item and we go ahead and just include all of those measurements, the weights, in the listing so they know exactly what they're paying. And honestly, we don't have any issues with people not purchasing things because they're free. Yep. Seven Thrift says she's tried both as well and it doesn't work. There's no bump anymore for free shipping since promoted listings came to life. Yep. Let's see. Do you guys ever do offers to likers on post? We do send offers to likers, yes. We do have it set through Posh or VA. If you guys want to try it, I know most of Cayley's videos do have the Posh or VA link in the bottom. I would recommend giving it a shot. We found out that we can send offers through that. We can share the closet through that. And we can also do community shares through that. So we're really excited to see that. You can also discount all of your listings through that too after they're so long. So we could actually go on and pick older than 90 days and have it send those. We sold through a lot of things this last week because we did discount those. So we do send offers to likers often. My biggest question is, how much do you put on something for shipping? I have a postal scale. I don't know how to figure out how much something is going to cost. You, Patricia, you do not have to figure out how much it costs. You can go to calculated shipping. If it is 16 ounces or less, you can do it as first class and just put in the actual measurement of your item, like how much it weighs, like 6 ounces. And then when the buyer goes to purchase that item, it'll calculate the first class for them based on the item's dimensions. If it's over the 16 ounces, then you would put it in either, we normally do padded if it'll fit, or we put it in just US priority if we know it has to go in a box or it's bigger than what will fit in a padded. And again, it'll calculate for that as well. The cool thing too is that changes based on, when you do it like that, it changes based on the USPS. So if they change their prices, they increase them or they lower them, eBay will auto adjust to that and it will change all of those prices as well for you, and you don't have to do that individually. Sometimes you get a little extra, the cost difference between what they are charged and you pay. Helps in taking offers lower than full asking price. Yep. So sometimes you do, depending on your pot or your eBay closet, sometimes you do get discounts on bulk shipping through eBay. And sometimes it actually costs you less than on eBay than what it would cost you to go to the post office and print the labels there and actually ship them through there. So I would definitely recommend, if you can do them from eBay at home, to do so. Patch shipping and take offers, that comes off shipping as well as returns. You can't keep shipping because you didn't charge any. That's huge money. Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure you're charging them something for shipping. Some people will still do discounted shipping and stuff on Poshmark, but we typically don't. I mean, every now and then we'll send out offers with discounted shipping and it will work, but ultimately it's honestly not worth it. We do typically increase the price of the Poshmark listings versus eBay listings just to account for offers and if they would take discounted shipping for some reason, but that's kind of on us. Do you guys have any other questions that you guys would like me to go over today before I decide that I'm going to hop off our live for today? I hope you guys found today useful. I know it's kind of odd, it's just one of us and not multiple of us, but I thought I could handle y'all for one day, so. I had a seller mad at me for returning an item. Hold on. LOL. The jeans were listed as a size 10, but when I received them, it was a size 12. The seller refunded, but sent me a rude message. I don't understand why people do that. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure they were probably upset. Like, you purchased the item, and then, like, they thought they had the money for it, and now it's gone, and they don't have the money for it. But, at the same time, like, that's not your fault. I forgot to turn my volume off, so you guys probably hear my phone randomly clicking. I'm sorry. Cayley is still messaging me, even though she's not here, so I should turn my volume off. So I'm sure that they were kind of upset because they didn't have the money from that, but it's not your fault. Like, they listed it at the wrong price, or not wrong price, at the wrong size. I mean, and it is what it is. Like, if it doesn't fit you, it doesn't fit you. Like, there's nothing that you can do, unfortunately. So I would let it be what it is. Maybe keep that in consideration for when you go to purchase them again, or purchase from them. You might not want to buy from them again. You can also, like, send that into eBay and let them know that, like, you returned it because it was the wrong size. It said it was the wrong size, and let eBay sort it out. Sometimes that's what we do. Do you encourage repeat purchases from customers, or does it tend to be whoever's interested in the item? Honestly, I don't even pay attention to who buys items. I know that might sound really bad, but it's just whoever buys what. We have so many items going out that I just honestly can't keep track of it. eBay does. I don't know if I have my phone. Oh, it's plugged in. It's like when you're talking on the phone and you can't find your phone. eBay will pop up and say, like, repeat buyer. We have had a lot of repeat buyers this week. We had a repeat buyer this week who ended up buying like 15 items off of us in different bundles. So we sent them. I ended up going ahead and sending like a handwritten thank you note to them. I also sent her a couple pairs of earrings just as like an extra thank you, because she probably spent over $150 this week alone and just stuff, and she was listed as a repeat buyer. So I wanted to really take care of her. So every now and then I will do that. I actually have a local friend who makes handmade clay earrings, and I've been trying to support her small business as well. So sometimes I'll have her make earrings that match like an outfit that we've bought. She's got a lot of like really bright colored earrings, so sometimes I'll pair those with some like Lily Pulitzer dresses and things like that if we have a repeat buyer, or if I think that they might, you know, it might be an extra little surprise. I like to gift people like that. But honestly, I don't really pay much attention to who the buyer is on things because there's so many. So if y'all are looking for some really cute handmade clay earrings, check out Wildflower Baubles on Instagram. She's fantastic, and I think you guys will like them as much as I do. I have some palm trees coming for the ocean. I was gonna wear them today because this is kind of like tropical, but to be honest, I just forgot to put them in. So thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. Thanks, Lucy. I don't have a bins location in my city. What are some alternatives? We have some stores that do like dollar days, or they'll do like $5 bags of clothes. Those would be a good opportunity. If you have something like that. Yard sales are another good opportunity. Most times you can get stuff from them for like $1 to $2 a piece. Maybe look at, sometimes Goodwill will do like 99-cent days where like everything's 99 cents, or like a certain color's 99 cents. Might be worth checking out. That's all I can really think of based on us. I'm not sure where you're located, Isabella, but I would definitely look into your stores. VOAs in Ohio do like 50% off everything days. Those are days where we typically go get things too sometimes. Most times VOAs have things marked for like $2.99, $3.99. I mean, obviously, unless they're like marked up significantly, but that could be a good opportunity for you to go get things that are typically $2.99 or $3.99 and get them for like $1 something a piece. Might be a good suggestion depending on where you are located. Thanks for explaining what that weird sound was. I kept thinking something is happening in my shops, even though I'm not quite a ka-ching. Sorry. It's just like my regular text notification, and I meant to turn my volume off before I started, and I just didn't do it. I don't know why I didn't, but I forgot about it. I was also 1 minute over, so I think I slightly panicked, and I just didn't think about it. So, sorry you guys have heard all of Cayley's messages coming through. Well, I think I'm going to cut you guys off here unless you guys have anything else you'd like to talk about. I do want to say thanks again for the super chats today. I honestly really appreciate it. If you guys want to give me some more thumbs up, I would appreciate those too. I think Cayley's planning on going back and adding some stuff into the descriptions as well, in case anybody wants to follow any of the things we talked about today. I'll have her upload that eBay shipping video for you, Patricia, and that way it's easier for you to find. I don't think I know how to do that, so I'm gonna let her do that when she comes back later. Yes, I returned them and got the refund. The seller had their store as no returns. Just because you don't accept returns, it doesn't mean that eBay is going to side with the seller. That is true. And maybe that's part of it. They got mad that eBay sided with them over it. So, does anyone else get confused about why some people on Posh like and re-like listing even after relisting? I'm genuinely curious. We'll post people on Posh like and re-like listings even after relisting. I don't know. I think a lot of people like stuff just so that they can kind of follow along with it. And that way, maybe you'll send them a deal on it, or that way you can, they can keep track and see if there's offers or things like that going on. But that's just a guess. You did great. Thank you. Tell Cayley we missed her, but you did a great job. So no shade there. She is spending some time today with her mom, spending some relaxing time. Probably on a boat somewhere, but she was here this morning, and I'm sure she'll be jealous that I missed you guys and I got super chats and she wasn't even here. So I'm gonna send her a screenshot of this and say, ha ha ha, I win, you lose. Not really, but I will let her know that you guys missed her, and we will plan on being back next Monday. So we are not gonna do the Friday lives as of right now. We'll plan on just doing it next Monday. Plan on seeing us at 9. She will be with us, with me. I keep saying us like she's with me. She'll be with me next week, and you guys can tell her all about how much better she is when she's here. So, well, if you guys could give me a couple more thumbs up before you guys get off, I would appreciate it. I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you guys for joining. Feel free to leave comments, questions in the comments once this video is posted. Also, feel free to shoot us some emails on questions that you have. Feel free to shoot some emails on suggestions for the next live. If you guys want to know about something specific, we'd be glad to go over it with you guys. I think I'm kind of starting to run out of topics for myself of things I'd like to talk with you guys about, but I'm sure you guys have lots of questions on things you'd be curious about. So feel free to shoot them over to me in an email so I've got some time to prep those things, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you guys for watching today. See you all later.